Most watch content is about the watches themselves, which ones to buy, which ones to sell, which brands are overrated, and which ones are underrated. But not often do we talk about the things around the hobby of watch collecting, the accessories, the infrastructure that makes watch collecting so fun. And that's exactly what I want to talk about in today's video. I want to share 5 essential accessories that you need if you are a watch collector. I personally own all of the items that I'm talking about in today's video, and I personally think that each of these items truly have utility and have enhanced my experience as a watch collector. So let's start with something that maybe is a bit obvious, but probably the most important accessory on this list, and that is a nice watch box. Now, I'm pretty sure most watch enthusiasts out there already know that having a nice watch box is essentially a prerequisite for being a watch collector. And although that is true, I think it's important to really specify here that when I talk about watch boxes, I really think it's important to have a nice high quality watch box. Now, there's nothing wrong with having just a cheap watch box that gets the job done. I'm certainly not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I really think that if you're going to spend a lot of money on the hobby of watch collecting, that you should have a watch box that is fitting of the pieces you have. At the end of the day, the pieces that we have in our collection are usually either monetarily of value or sentimentally valuable. And of course, it just makes sense to me to just have those pieces put in a place that fits that status that they hold in both, again, sentimental or monetary value. Not having a high quality watch box to match the investment that you've made in your watch collection just reminds me of that meme of a Lamborghini parked outside. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Personally, I own an 8-piece watch box in the color British Racing Green from the brand Wolf, which is definitely higher end, and I'm not saying it was the greatest investment in the world, but it really does make me feel good putting my higher end watches in a really nice box. You can call me corny if you want, but in my opinion, reaching into that high quality watch box and taking that piece off of the pillow really is a great feeling, and it just makes me feel like I'm putting my watches in the right place every day. The next essential watch collector accessory that I want to talk about here today is a watch stand. The one that I have is also from the brand called Wolf, and I got it on sale for about $45, and it's a very basic product. It is just a watch stand. It does not wind your watch, it doesn't have any extra features, but it is a very useful tool. The intention of this product is to allow you to take your watch off, put it on the stand so you could admire it. It fits really well on a work desk, but also can work on your nightstand. But I like it on my work desk because it allows me to take off my watch, admire it, and not get it all banged up on my keyboard and on my desk throughout the day. I keep one of these watch stands at my office that I work at all times, and it gets a lot of compliments. I think it looks pretty classy, and it's really just a great way to allow you to admire your watches and not get them damaged. So in my opinion, a great investment. Okay, so this next essential watch collector accessory that I want to recommend could be a bit controversial, but I think it's very important, and that's a fitness wearable. Now, the one that I have is the Google Fitbit Air. It's $99 and doesn't have a subscription, so it seemed like a pretty good deal to me. But there's a lot of different options out there. There's different bracelet style ones, there's different rings out there, but really just in general, I want to talk about fitness wearables as a great companion to a traditional wristwatch. I think a lot of watch collectors, including myself, really appreciate traditional wristwatches because they're not modern technology. In a world where technology is all over the place and everything is trying to steal your attention, it's nice to have a true traditional wristwatch that isn't beeping and buzzing and giving you notifications. And with that being said, it may seem a bit counterintuitive to be using a fitness wearable, but there are a lot of examples out there of fitness wearables like this Google Fitbit Air that don't give you notifications, that don't beep and buzz or do anything super special. They truly just track your fitness, and that is really the main thing that I think most people miss out on when they don't use an Apple Watch and do use a traditional wristwatch. I have personally never owned a smartwatch and really have no plans of ever owning one. I love traditional watches too much to ever go in that direction. But sometimes I do get a little jealous of some of those fitness tracking features, and that's exactly where some of these fitness wearables come into play. I can easily strap this Fitbit to the opposite wrist that's not wearing a watch. It feels just like a bracelet that's super light, and it doesn't get in the way of my watch wearing experience. In fact, I've actually seen some people wear this Google Fitbit Air on their watch as basically like a NATO strap. I think it could be a bit grotesque to some, but I think it's kind of cool and a smart way to wear a watch and get that fitness functionality. Let me know in the comment section down below if you wear a fitness wearable with your traditional wristwatch, and let me know which is your favorite. Next up here, the 4th essential watch collector accessory that you need is a hard shell travel case. I've had a lot of these over the years, and you can get them all over the place online. And they're just basically these little zip up pouches where you can put your watches, and they're kind of like a hard shell case, so really nothing should happen to your watches while they're in there. And it's just super useful. I don't use it every single day, but sometimes I'll travel around with a couple of different watches to try to shoot some footage of my pieces. And it's just really great to have an easy way to put my watches in a travel safe compartment. And yeah, I mean, this is just something very basic, but something I find extremely useful. This is like one of those items you buy that you don't really have an exact use case for at the time of the purchase, but trust me, it's one of those things that will be used no matter what. Okay, so the last essential watch collector accessory that you need to own is a series of watch straps, and that might be a bit obvious to more seasoned collectors, but it cannot be understated how impactful extra watch straps are. Most of you might know the old adage about buying watch straps as a watch collector. If you want to buy a new watch strap first. It'll breathe new life into the watches you already have, and that couldn't be more true. I'm sure many of you can relate to the idea of wanting a new watch and kind of feeling bored of the pieces you already have in your collection. But as soon as you buy a new strap, like I said, they breathe new life into the pieces you already have, and it kind of rejuvenates your excitement for the watches you own. I also just wanted to briefly shout out my favorite all-time watch strap. It's the chevron strap from Crown & Buckle. Now, this isn't sponsored in any way, but it just truly is my favorite watch strap I own. It's essentially a NATO-style strap, but it's also adjustable. So if you're someone like myself who likes the idea of wearing a NATO strap but doesn't like all the extra bunched up material, you can basically adjust it to not have as much extra overhanging material. They also just make them in a lot of different cool textures and colors. This one on my Omega Seamaster 1948 I think just looks absolutely spectacular. But yeah, that is my roundup of the 5 essential watch collector accessories that you should buy. I think all of these accessories have truly had an important use in my collecting journey. They all truly have utility and have really enhanced my experience as a watch collector. I also want to reiterate that all these different watch collecting accessories are not necessary. You don't need any of these things to be a true watch enthusiast or a true watch collector. But like I said, these are just things that I personally have found a lot of utility in and that I really enjoy. I also want to reiterate that this video is not sponsored in any way. All these items I purchased myself, and they're just the things that I own that I personally like, but there's a lot of great alternatives to each of the different things that I mentioned. But that being said, let me know in the comment section down below your personal favorite watch collecting accessory. Maybe it's something that's on this list, but maybe it's something that's not on this list, and I would love to learn about it. So let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you can give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.